The storm rolled across the empty highway with a roar. The rain poured so heavy that even the windshield wipers could not keep up. Daniel gripped the steering wheel of his truck, the old headlights cutting a thin path through the downpour. He had been driving back from a long delivery, tired and ready for nothing more than a warm meal and a dry bed. But then something slammed hard against the hood of his truck. He stomped the brakes, tires screeching against the wet road. The shape that had fallen against his truck rolled onto the ground, and at first he thought it was a deer. But when he leaped out of the cab, heart racing, what he saw froze him in shock. A figure lay in the mud, drenched by rain, a girl with fox-like ears and a long tail. Her eyes glowed faintly in the darkness. Amber and sharp, though dulled with exhaustion. She tried to push herself up, but her body shook. Her voice came out broken and demanding at the same time. She asked for shelter from the harsh earth storm. Daniel could hardly believe his ears. He had heard stories of strange beings after the first alien contact, decades ago. But he never thought he would meet one alone on a stormy highway. The fox girl clutched her arm as if injured. She looked thin, her cloak torn and soaked. Her tail lashed once, and she winced, as if even that motion hurt. Daniel bent down carefully, unsure if she was dangerous. But seeing her shiver against the cold rain stirred something human in him. He told her to wait, then helped her to her feet. She resisted for a moment, proud even in her state, but the storm was too much. Finally, she leaned on him as he guided her into the cab of his truck. Inside, the warmth of the heater surrounded them. Water dripped from her cloak onto the worn seats. She sat still, her sharp eyes watching him. Daniel asked her name. She hesitated before speaking softly. She called herself Lyra. Her voice had a strange tone, musical but heavy, as if carrying another world in it. Daniel introduced himself simply. The silence that followed was filled only with the hammer of rain against the roof. Lyra said she had traveled far, too far from a broken transport. She had been walking for days, and the storm had pushed her past her limits. She demanded safety, but her demand was less of arrogance and more of survival. Daniel nodded. He told her he had a small cabin not far from the road. They would ride out the storm there. She agreed with a small nod, still watching him closely as though unsure if humans could be trusted. The drive to the cabin was tense. Every time the lightning flashed, Daniel glanced at her. She sat straight, ears twitching at every sound. He noticed her hands, claw-like at the tips, yet trembling. She seemed caught between strength and weakness. When they finally reached the cabin, the rain had started to thin. He helped her inside, lit the old lantern, and showed her the simple room. She moved slowly, her body stiff. When she lowered her hood, Daniel saw her face clearly for the first time. She looked young, though not like any human girl. Her features were sharper, her eyes too bright, her ears moving slightly even when she stood still. But what struck him was the weariness that dragged at her. Daniel gave her a blanket and set water to boil on the stove. She accepted both with quiet dignity. She said little at first, only sipping the water and staring into the flames. But as the storm faded outside, she began to speak more. She told him her kind had come long ago, fox clans from the stars. They had lived hidden, keeping away from human cities, but the world outside was cruel. She had been searching for something, but her voice trailed off when pressed. She guarded her secrets closely. As the night deepened, Daniel found himself studying her. She seemed fragile, yet he knew she must have survived hardships beyond imagination. Lyra caught him staring once, and her ears flicked. She said humans always looked at her kind with either fear or wonder. Daniel told her he only saw someone caught in the storm, same as him. That seemed to ease her tension for the first time. Her tail curled closer around her body, like she was finally allowing herself a moment of rest. The next morning, the land outside lay washed and clean. Daniel made simple breakfast, and to his surprise, Lyra ate with quiet appreciation. She moved with grace, even in small things. Afterward, she told him she could not stay long. Her people were scattered, and she had a duty to find them. Yet when she tried to stand, her injuries slowed her. Daniel insisted she rest longer, and though she resisted, she could not deny her weakness. So she stayed for one more day. During that day, they spoke more. Lyra asked questions about his life, about the small human things he thought unimportant. She seemed curious about his work, about why he lived alone so far from others. He told her about the long roads and the quiet he preferred. She listened closely, her eyes thoughtful. Then she told him more of her own world, of the cold stars, of battles her clan had fought, of the long escape to find peace. There was sorrow in her words, but also fire. By the third day, she was stronger. She stood outside, tail brushing lightly against the grass, ears rising to catch the wind. Daniel watched from the porch. She looked both alien and familiar, like a dream stitched into the real world. She turned to him and said her path lay elsewhere. Yet in her eyes, he saw hesitation. The storm had forced them together, and in that brief time, a thread had formed between them. When Lyra finally left, the sun was breaking through the clouds. She carried only a small bundle of supplies Daniel had given her. She paused by the truck, the very place she had first struck in desperation. For a moment, she looked at him as if to speak, but instead, she gave a slow nod. Her voice came soft, saying he had shown her something rare among humans. Simple kindness without demand. Then she walked toward the trees. Vanishing into the quiet wilderness, Daniel stood for a long time watching the path she had taken. The storm had passed, but he knew the memory of that night would not fade. Somewhere out there, among the stars or the shadows of the earth, the fox girl walked on, carrying both her secrets and the echo of the shelter she had once demanded and received.